Hey, Jenny,
Hey, Kurt.
if I were to say to you, the language that you speak matters, or how you speak matters, right? So let's say in my industry, what I do for work, I can talk to people that I work with phrases and things that would make no sense to anybody else unless they're doing that work,
Yes.
right? So that's the language of that culture. It's not specifically the words said in the order that they're said. It's what do these words mean to you based on your understanding of what we're doing.
Yes.
That's how I think about language.
Yes. I've always told my kids, whatever you're studying, there's a vocabulary for that. Whether it's certain type of science or a certain type of history, you have a certain vocabulary that goes with every realm of life.
So if I say Shabbat Shalom to you, you know what that means. I don't
Yeah.
have to explain it. You don't even have to look it up. I mean, if you want to do the exact definition of those words, it's peaceful Sabbath, right? So,
But it's
but you,
also wishing that person full health, fullness of emotion, like spiritual, all encompassing absolute health, which I think is really cool.
if we say the feast days, we know what this means.
Yeah.
But if you say, I'm going to celebrate trumpets, that's not, I'm going to celebrate the Feast of Trumpets or Yom Teruah. It's, I'm going, trumpets is coming up, and we know what that means. But if you
Yeah.
say that out here, that's language that doesn't make sense to the average person. Like, what are you
Right.
talking about? And I experience that regularly because I tell my business partner, hey, I got a Hebrew festival coming up. So
Mhm.
I'm going to be off this day and you got to cover for me. Which
Sure.
or just let it stay lay there and I'll handle it when I get back. Kind of
Mhm.
thing. So to say that he's going to restore, we're going to get into Zephaniah here
Yeah.
or Zephaniah, but chapter 3. He's going to restore a pure language. Is that what he says?
Yes. He does say that in that verse.
You know, but I will give all people pure lips to worship you. Because he means going to give you what words in a specific language or a vernacular that causes you to be a part of his family.
I think it's you're going to have his subjects to talk about, his things to talk about, that what you talk about matters and that we're to make a big deal of his stuff. And so I think it's emphasizing Yah and his ways. And I think that's super a big deal.
Right, so we've read all these prophets
Yeah.
up until now, and they are keep saying, Yahuwah keeps saying, know Yahuwah. Do you know Yahuwah?
Right.
Everybody will know Yahuwah,
Hmm.
right? That's written in the prophets. And then so this becomes the pure language, is the things that are his country, his people, his things will become part of our vernacular. That's how we just speak. And that, I think, is the pure language. Now, we'll read Zephaniah, chapter 3. What do we know about Zephaniah? Who is he?
It's a very short book.
So, Zephaniah is the name of several people in the Hebrew Bible, the most prominent being the prophet who prophesied in the days of Josiah, king of Judah, 640 to 609 BCE. Remember, BCE is before Common Era and it counts backwards up
Yeah.
to one. And is attributed a book bearing his name among the 12 minor prophets. His name is commonly transliterated in Bibles translated from the Vulgate or Septuagint. The name might mean Yahuwah has hidden, protected, or Yah lies in wait. Uh, the best known biblical figure bearing the name Zephaniah is son of Cush, the great great grandson of King Hezekiah. Ninth in the literary order of the 12 minor prophets, he prophesied in the days of Josiah, ruler of the kingdom of Judah, 604 to 609 BCE. But before Josiah's reform in 629 is the short three-chapter book of the Old Testament. So this is what Zephaniah writes. It starts off with the title, Jerusalem will be destroyed. Name
Uh,
of God Bible for me, and you're doing what?
Stones to knock.
And if we remember correctly, Jerusalem has been destroyed many times. This could be a prophecy of one of those times to come, since it's way back in 600 BCE. How horrible it would be for that rebellious and corrupt place, the city of violence. It obeys no one. It does not accept correction. It does not trust Yahuwah. It does not draw close to its Elohim. So I remember that sentence again. It does not draw close to its Elohim. Its officials are like roaring lions. Its judges are like wolves in the evening. They leave nothing to gnaw on for the morning. His prophets are reckless and unfaithful. His priests contaminate what is holy. They violate the teachings. The righteous Yahuwah is in that city. He does no wrong. He brings his judgment to light every morning. He does not fail. But those who are prevented are shameless. Just want to interrupt that part right there because we've read Jeremiah
Gonna
33 where he says that uh, if the sun doesn't rise, like surely this is as much as you. And then here's uh, Zephaniah saying the same thing. Zephaniah, I know, but I like saying Zephaniah. It reminds me of lasagna.
But what a cool contrast you had there. You have that Jerusalem is wicked, the leaders are wicked, the priests are wicked, all of that's wicked. And then you have Yah Almighty. He's faithful, he's good, he hasn't changed, his promises still are valid. Like, that was such a clear contrast there.
Right, and he brings his judgment to light every morning. What does that statement
Yeah,
say? Sure as the sun's going to rise in the morning,
right?
I'm going to show you everything, okay? I
Exactly.
ain't
Yeah.
going to change. It's just going to be this way.
Hmm.
And there are people out there who are saying that he's changed. No, he hasn't. I'm making a deal with the descendants of Israel,
Hmm.
and they're going to tell you that I'm going to change my mind, but I'm not. I'll tell you, Jeremiah 33. And here's a contemporary of Jeremiah
Yes.
saying the same thing in the
Yeah.
fifth verse of the ninth
Yeah.
or the third chapter. Yep.
Yeah.
He brings his judgment to light every morning. He does not fail. But those who are perverted are shameless. I will cut off the nations. Their towers will be destroyed. I will demolish their streets. No one will walk through them. Their cities will be completely destroyed. Not a single person will be left. No one will be living there. I said to my people, you will fear me. You will accept correction. Then their homeland would not be wiped out. Even though I have punished them, still they continue to be corrupt in everything they did.
Okay, I got to read my verse here. It says, just fear me, accept chastisement, so that her abode would not be terminated. Like Yah gave them the option. Just turn and do my stuff, and you don't have to be destroyed, despite all that I've ordained upon her. But instead, they arose early and corrupted all their deeds. Like they chose this way of destruction. Just horrible.
It's almost like they can't wait to start disobeying. Like,
Yeah.
whatever we want.
It's not logical. It does not make sense looking back at history from our perspective. It's like, what were they thinking?
But yet, it's a repeat.
Yeah.
You know the directions of conditioner for your hair:
Hmm.
wash, rinse, and repeat. It's the same thing. We just keep doing the same thing. Are we? I'll let you go. Chapter 8, verse 8. Sorry.
Okay. Therefore, wait for me, the word of Yahweh, for the day when I will arise to plunder them. For my judgment will be to assemble nations, to gather kingdoms, to pour my fury upon them, all my burning wrath, for with the fire of my jealousy the entire earth will be consumed. For then I will change the nations to speak a pure language, so that they will proclaim the name of Yahweh, to
Just to
worship
repeat,
him.
my verse 9
Yeah,
says, "Then I will give all people pure lips to worship Jehovah and to
yeah,
serve Him with one purpose," which is
yeah,
kind of the same thing you're saying, but yours
it
says, but
is. But to have a united resolve, like to know who God is, to fully seek his face, to do his stuff, to keep his ways, like with all your heart, soul, strength, resources, like all that he commanded, but to have everyone have that same focus. That's where I don't think it's a certain language. I think it's the resolve, it's the focus on him. Like he's the center of the bullseye. Everybody knows it. Everyone's looking towards that. Everyone's expecting that. Everyone's being obedient. Everyone's doing his ways. Like that's why I think that pure language is what you know and think and do.
I do too. It's just
Yeah.
even now, other Torah observant, Shabbat. When does Shabbat begin? These are
Yeah.
questions, but he'll address this later in a minute.
Yeah.
So I'll shut up. Go ahead.
But to do that morning to morning is such a defined thing. Like you actually have somewhere to start. You actually have the end of the day. You actually know it. Like, and then it's so simple to keep that because you know what his truths are. Okay. From the other side of the rivers of Cush, my supplicants, groups of my scattered ones, will bring my tribute. On that day, you will not be ashamed of all your deeds by which you have wantonly sinned against me. For then I will remove from your midst those who exult in your arrogance, and you will no longer continue to be haughty on my holy mountain. I think that's so cool that he's saying, you guys have gone astray. You have inherited lies, basically, but you're going to get it. You're going to wake up, and I'm going to remove that disgrace of that confusion you had before, and you're going to know exactly what my ways are. And I will leave in your midst a humble and destitute people, and they will take shelter in the name of Yahweh. The remnant of Israel will not commit corruption. They will not speak falsehood, and a deceitful tongue will not be found in their mouth, for they will graze and lie down with none to make them afraid. And I'd have to say that hasn't happened yet. We haven't had a time of absolute peace. We have not. I mean, we're surrounded by falsehood, so that's super easy to see. Sing, O daughter of Zion. Sound the trumpet, O Israel. Be glad and exult with all your heart, O daughter of Jerusalem. Yahweh has removed your judgments. He has cleared away your enemy. The King of Israel, Yahweh, is in your midst. You will never again fear evil. On that day it will be said to Jerusalem, have no fear. O Zion, do not despair. Yahweh your God is in your midst, the mighty one who will save. He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will be silent with his love. And that's like he's not bringing up anything against you, right? Because you are perfectly in line with his stuff. There's nothing that isn't his ways. On that day it will be said to Jerusalem, have no fear. O Zion, do not despair. Yahweh your God is in your midst, the mighty one who will save. He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will be silent with his love. He will be joyful over you with glad song. I have gathered together those who have mourned for the appointed time. They came from you who had carried a burden of shame for it. Behold, at that time I will crush all those who afflict you. I will save the cripple and gather the cast off, and I will make them for praise and a good name throughout the land of their shame. At that time I will bring you in, and at that time I will gather you, for I will make you into a good name and praise among all the peoples of the earth, when I return your captives before your eyes, said Yahweh.
Yay!
Yay.
Well,
But have
this seems like something that's going to happen way in the future for Zephaniah's day, or even like
well,
this.
it's
None of this stuff has even kind of happened. at all.
If he was 600 years BCE and we're 2000, I mean, that's almost 3,000 years. So, yeah.
It's a really long time. But I just want to, something just sticks out here. I've had so many people, even in Torah observant, tell me, "Oh, God just loves you." No, he don't. His love isn't automatic. You don't just get it. He doesn't love everybody. He loves Israel. His
Yeah.
love is Israel. His heart is Israel, and
And
not
his,
Israel, that country over there. Israel, his people,
yeah,
the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he
right.
tells us that in Jubilees, chapter 1 and chapter 2. He comes out swinging with that. He literally says in chapter 2 he doesn't care. He
Yeah.
doesn't care about the other nations. They're not his.
Like at this time, everyone's doing his stuff, knowing he is the only God, knowing his appointed times. I mean, in that verse where it says people were mourning over the appointed times, I mean, what a focus that has been to figure out, when do I do this? How do I do this? What am I supposed to do? How do I show up for this? And Yah's festivals are amazing to celebrate. So to have that all in perfect order so that you are his people, that's when his love is over you, not while you're still screwing it up. Like, I think that's super clear in this chapter.
So while you're worshiping another god, he doesn't love you. I'm here to tell you,
Uh-uh.
he doesn't care. He doesn't. He literally
Oh.
says, "Even if you shout in my ears, I will not
Mhm.
hear you." That's his
Yes,
words, not mine.
exactly.
I don't know enough to know that other, but he tells me the same thing. As sure as the sun will rise in the morning,
Yeah.
this is how I behave. This is me.
Yes. And he doesn't change. He hates mixing. He hates idols. He hates other gods. Like he says again and again, I am the only one. There is none beside me. It's a huge deal to Yah. He's created the system perfectly. And for us to think, oh, but we need to add this other stuff in, like, no, just stop. Like, he has it perfectly in order.
And we've read, I want to say, 5 or 6 prophets on this channel, right? And I would say none of them, not I would say, I am going to state emphatically,
Yeah.
none of them have said anything about a cross or blood or a human sacrifice to achieve his forgiveness. No, he said it's just going to happen. I'm going to
Right.
make it happen. He says it again here with Zephaniah.
Yeah.
And even though Zephaniah is in Jerusalem, he's prophesying to a very future people,
Yeah.
right? The people of Yahuwah who are going to wake up. That's you.
Yeah.
That's me. That's everybody who's starting to keep Shabbat.
Yeah.
You're not waking up on accident, but dude, you got to lay down the other gods because he's not
Yeah.
going to accept the worship any other way, just his way.
No. You have
And
to focus on his ways and what he says. And every prophet has been super consistent. And recently I was reviewing Hosea. Like, that's kind of a depressing book. Like, everything has gone wrong. His people have gone astray. Everything is just mucked up. And then you get to the last chapter. It's like, oh, there's hope because Yah has a plan and he's faithful to his covenant and he keeps his promises. Like, he's so faithful. You can bank on it. And his order of operations is so different than what I think should go the way that it should be or what I believed before or whatever. It's like, no, his order of operations are like so permanent. Like, you couldn't move a mountain. You see his creation surrounding you in beautiful ways. And he's so faithful to what he said and the way that he set things up, that it's going to be someday in the future. And he's going to restore his people and he's going to gather them is incredible.
I'd say that he's started it. It's in
Yeah,
motion, right?
yeah,
But we, as his people, have to let go of the past. We have to let
yes.
go of the teachings. We have to let go of the whatever we learned. We have to
Oh,
like his statement over and over and over again. It would be as if it never happened. So if it's as
yeah,
if it never happened to him, it has to
yeah,
be as if it never happened to us. Like,
right.
okay, this never happened. I never did that. Okay, that's the way he
But
sees it.
yeah, but to wake up to his truth of that and to be willing to drop what you had before or what you believed before, okay, so up to this point, I've believed this. And then I wake up to what his words actually say and his truth in his scripture. And then it's like, oh, okay. So I change direction and I drop everything I had before. Like, you just have to have that willingness to even be curious or be willing to learn something different is, I mean, it's a challenge, but it's absolutely possible.
So, in keeping in mind with, or in line with this teaching, and celebrate and rejoice with all your heart, the people of
Yeah.
Jerusalem, and I will gather those among you who are troubled because of the festivals. They
Yeah.
bear a burden of disgrace. That's
Yes.
verse 18. We have the fall feast coming up. We did a
Yes.
very extensive teaching on the spring feast, so now we're going to get into the fall feast, and
Right.
that we'll do that next time.
Yeah.
So, and what we discovered in the Book of Jubilees, and if you don't have the Book of Jubilees,
Mm.
we'll get it.
Get it. Go get it now.